Hi, this is Claire, founder of Act Now Health Coaching. Jumping on here today to show you how to do a blood pressure properly. A lot of you might have been asked to do your blood pressure by your doctor. Some of you might just do it for fun because you've got a blood pressure machine at home. I strongly recommend that whether you have blood pressure issues or not, you get yourself a blood pressure machine at home. It's a really cheap, easy way to monitor your cardiovascular health, and it allows you to be proactive with your GP if you do think you've got a problem with your blood pressure. Remember, high blood pressure rarely comes with symptoms, so it's a good idea whether you take your blood pressure weekly, daily, or even quarterly. Just do it every so often. Okay, so you've got a good idea, so you know what your trend is, and then you can see if it's all going a bit horribly wrong. So what we're going to talk about today, there's two main types of blood pressure machines. The one that we're going to be using today is this one, which comes with a cuff that goes around the arm. This is probably what most of you are familiar with. There is another type of machine which goes around your wrist. The principles of both are exactly the same in terms of how you need to take them. The only difference with the wrist machine is that you need to make sure that the wrist you're taking your blood pressure on is roughly at heart height. So you might need to rest your elbow on a table to do that one, okay? With the arm cuff machines, so if you buy a normal machine, it will come with a medium-sized cuff. So this will fit a bicep of approximately 9 to 13 inches or 22 to 32 centimetres. If you need anything smaller or larger than a medium-sized cuff, you'll probably need to buy that separately. From my personal experience, I would avoid online marketplaces to get these. Cheapest is not necessarily best, and that's down to personal experience. I bought a blood pressure machine on an online marketplace, and the results were really wrong, quite dangerously wrong. If you're going to go to an online marketplace, buy a named brand, and ideally you want that machine to come with a warranty. Otherwise, in the UK, I tend to stick to Boots or Lloyd's Chemists. They do quite decent own brand little machines. I've never had any problems with them. A named brand that I quite like is also Omron, Omron. They do good machines. You don't necessarily need an all singing, all dancing one. You literally just need to be able to read the numbers on it. If you can't read the numbers, then there are machines out there that will tell you the reading for you. Okay, so there's a big spectrum of blood pressure machines depending on the features that you want. Personally, I go for the most basic. It's anywhere between £20 and £40 for a machine. And like I say, that includes the cuff. Before you go near your blood pressure machine, regardless of whether you're doing the arm or you're doing the wrist one, you need to sit still. There is no point doing a blood pressure if you've just run up the stairs or you've just eaten or you've just had a cigarette or you've just done a spin class, because it's not going to give you an accurate result. Okay, you need to ideally be in a hard back chair with both your feet on the floor. Don't cross your legs because that can alter the blood flow. So you want to have nothing that's going to stop your blood flowing properly. And you want to be still for about 10 minutes. I don't mean you have to sit in silence. You can watch TV, you can be on your computer, you can read a book, whatever it is you want to do, but try and be nice and still for around 10 minutes before you do it. In terms of time of day, most people do it first thing in the morning, but you can do it at night as well. Your blood pressure will fluctuate as the day goes on. So you might find your GP has asked you to do maybe 2 or 3, potentially even 4 as the day goes on, so they can see what's happening throughout the day. I would recommend that if you're going to start doing your blood pressure quite regularly, you be consistent. So if you're going to do it in the morning, always do it in the morning. If you're going to do it at bedtime, always do it at bedtime. Okay? So be still for about 10 minutes. Don't do any exercise. Like I said, we're going to concentrate on the arm cuff. So to put this on properly, you want to make sure you've got no thick jumpers on. If it's a thin shirt like this is, you could put it over a thin shirt, but nothing thick because it won't give you an accurate reading. I tend to disconnect the cuff from the machine because I find it easier. And then this cuff, you will see, has got a little metal gate. I'm going to put the other end of the cup through it with the Velcro facing outwards. It's a little bit counterintuitive. And then I'm going to make sure that I've got this tube facing downwards. Okay. And then you're going to put your arm through it. Now, a lot of people say it has to be the left arm. It doesn't have to be the left arm. In fact, if you're taking your blood pressure at home, I would recommend that you do your blood pressure initially on both arms, and then whichever arm has the higher reading, that's the arm that you continue to do your blood pressure on. The reason for that is because there's some evidence come out from the States that if you only do it on the arm with the lower reading, you are potentially being missed as having high blood pressure. Okay, so once you've got this on your arm with the tube facing down the center of your arm, you're going to tighten it, and here you just pull the end of the cuff and wrap it over. Okay, and then with the tube you want to move it into a position so that tube pretty much lines up with your middle finger. Okay, that is approximately where your artery is. Don't tighten it up too tight. You want to be able to get a finger underneath the cuff, and then you're going to plug it into your machine. This is when I plug it into your machine. Worthwhile saying, before you do all this, make sure you've got batteries in your machine and it works. And then you just press start to go. Now, don't be like me and be having a conversation when you're doing it. Again, this is one of the biggest mistakes I see. You want to make sure that your arm is facing upright, so your palm is up. You're not talking. It is going to go quite tight. Okay, don't worry. And the readings, I'm not going to go too much into the readings, but suffice to say, anything above 140/90 is classed in the UK as high blood pressure. In fact, I think if you're measuring it at home, it's 135/85. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be a one-off. I'm talking about consistently. It's 135/85 after your 10 minutes of rest. Now, mine is 133/95, which is not great, but that's because I've been talking. I'm also running low on batteries as well. If the batteries are running low and you don't like the results, so you know what your results normally are, change the batteries before you go racing to the GP. Okay, so that's how to do a blood pressure. Any questions, any comments, drop me a line. If you've used the wrist machines before, love to know how you get on with them. But thank you for listening. Bye bye.